She didn't think it would ever come to this. Sara Bluma had survived heartbreaks, career setbacks, and the chaos of social media fame. But nothing, absolutely nothing, could have prepared her for that night. The night her ex came back, not for closure, not for peace, but with fury in his eyes. It was just after midnight. Rome was unusually quiet. Her apartment, tucked away from the city noise, was supposed to be a sanctuary. That night, it became a scene from a nightmare. She had just returned home from a late-night event, where she had played a short set as DJ, one of her rare public appearances since her relationship with Can Yaman had become public. She was trying to stay out of the tabloids, focusing on her son and her healing. But someone else wasn't ready to let her go. He didn't knock. He never did. She heard the key turn in the lock, an old key, one she had forgotten existed. Her breath caught in her throat. She turned slowly toward the door, her heart racing. And then, before she could even speak his name, he was in the room, yelling, pacing, demanding answers for questions she no longer owed him. "Sara, you think you can replace me? You think you can just take my son and go play family with some actor?" She tried to remain calm. Tried to talk him down. But he wasn't here for a conversation. He was here for revenge. For control. And within minutes, it turned violent. A wine glass shattered. A table was flipped. She stumbled, her head hitting the edge of the wall. Blood dripped down her cheek. Her vision blurred. He didn't stop. Not until she collapsed on the floor, blood soaking into the cream-colored rug they once chose together. Her phone lay just inches away. Somehow, she reached it, hands trembling, breath shallow, and dialed emergency services. She doesn't remember much after that. Only that when she opened her eyes, paramedics were lifting her onto a stretcher, and a camera flash went off. Someone, a neighbor maybe, had taken a photo. The next day, that photo would go viral. Sara Bluma, covered in blood, bruised and broken, her face barely recognizable, posted it herself. She wanted the world to see. To understand. This is what he did to me. This is what I've been living with. I stayed silent for too long. But I won't anymore. Her post hit the internet like an earthquake. It wasn't just the physical damage, it was the pain behind her words. The desperation. The years of fear that she had masked with flawless makeup, filtered selfies, and half-smiles in interviews. Within hours, #JusticeForSara began trending. But not everyone believed her. Some said the wounds looked too perfect, that it was all for attention. Others speculated it was a publicity stunt tied to her relationship with Can Yaman. But the truth was simpler. She had been trying to protect her son. And in doing so, she had tolerated far more than the world would ever know. Behind the scenes, Sara's lawyers had already begun building the case. Text messages, voice recordings, CCTV footage from the hallway, and most painfully, photos she had saved for years, documenting the bruises she never explained. She had waited, hoping things would get better. Hoping the father of her child would one day become the man her son could look up to. But that night, something inside her broke for good. There was no going back. In a quiet hospital room, as doctors stitched her cheek and treated a hairline fracture in her arm, she made a silent vow, "I won't let this destroy me. Not again. Not this time." She had survived the attack. But now came the real battle. Not just for justice. But for her story to be believed. For her son to be safe. And for her life, to finally be hers again. On July 19, 2025, international entertainment site Al Bawaba broke the story, sharing Sara Bluma's shocking bloody photos and her claims of abuse by her ex-husband. The article highlighted her allegations that her ex was preventing her from seeing their child and that she had launched legal proceedings to fight back. Shortly after, YouTube videos surfaced with dramatic titles like "Sara Bluma covered in blood, attacked by her ex-husband," narrating the terrifying night she was found bloodied and collapsed on the floor. The videos included eyewitness accounts and speculation about the ex, Stefano. The hashtag Justice for Sara quickly gained traction as fans and supporters flooded social media with messages of encouragement. However, not everyone was convinced. Some commenters expressed doubts about the authenticity of the injuries, questioning if it was exaggerated or a publicity stunt connected to her relationship with Can Yaman. One YouTube comment read, "Another story said she suffered a broken arm, but I'm skeptical about this woman." Other viewers pointed out inconsistencies, mentioning that Sara appeared perfectly fine at a recent public event, fueling conspiracy theories. She looked fine at Can's meet and greet just days ago, so what really happened? Sara publicly stated via Instagram that she had filed an official complaint against her ex and that her lawyers were gathering evidence, including texts, recordings, and photos. However, no formal indictment or court rulings have been made public yet, suggesting the legal process is still in its early or confidential stages. The relationship between Sara Bluma and famous actor Can Yaman added fuel to media coverage. Many entertainment outlets framed the attack as a result of jealousy over Sara's new romance, with headlines like, "Falling in love with Can Yaman sparked ex-husband's rage." This framing intensified public fascination but sometimes overshadowed the serious legal and emotional aspects of the case. Sara's case became not only a story of personal trauma but also a spotlight on the challenges victims face in getting believed, the media's sensationalism, and how public figures navigate scandal. After that harrowing night, Sara's world was turned upside down. Hospital stays, medical treatments, and endless pain became her new reality. The cuts on her face, the swelling, and the suspected fractures were only the beginning. But beyond the physical wounds, the emotional scars ran deep. Sara shared glimpses of her recovery on social media, a raw and unfiltered look into the pain, the tears, and the strength it took to stand up every day. She wanted people to know this was not just a story of violence, but of survival. "Every scar tells a story, but it does not define me," she wrote in a heartfelt post. Her son remained her beacon of hope, the reason she fought harder every day. Despite the legal battles and media storms, Sara stayed focused on creating a safe space for him. Sara's lawyers continued their work, compiling evidence, text messages filled with threats, recordings that painted a picture of escalating abuse, and testimonies from neighbors and friends. The courts moved slowly, as is often the case in complex domestic abuse and custody disputes. But Sara remained steadfast, determined not to let fear silence her or rob her of her rights as a mother. The legal battle was more than just about punishment, it was about protection. Protecting herself, her son, and sending a message that abuse has consequences. While official verdicts were pending at the time, Sara's case inspired conversations about domestic violence, women's rights, and the urgent need for stronger legal protections in Italy and beyond. The public response continued to evolve. Celebrities and everyday people alike stood with Sara, sharing messages of solidarity. Support groups and NGOs focusing on domestic violence used her story to raise awareness and call for action. However, the skepticism and online trolling persisted in some corners, a painful reminder of how victims often face battles both in court and in public opinion. Through it all, Sara showed remarkable courage, using her voice to advocate not just for herself, but for countless others in similar situations. Though the scars remain, Sara's journey is one of hope. She gradually returned to music, performing DJ sets with renewed passion, blending her art with activism. Her relationship with Can Yaman, while often spotlighted, became a source of personal strength and normalcy amid chaos. Sara vowed to use her experience to inspire others, reminding the world that violence can be overcome and life can be reclaimed. Sara Bluma's story is more than a headline or a viral post. It is a testament to resilience in the face of darkness, the fight for justice against abuse, and the power of truth. Her journey continues, and through it, many have found the courage to speak up, stand tall, and demand change.